we're live.
Hello, world.
I just have to make sure I mute the YouTube one so it's not like echo, 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 echo. Because that's always fun. So I hope everyone's Saturday is going well.
Yeah.
Is it this
All
is
right.
so pretty bad about you, Kelly?
It's very cold and it snowed today. So I don't know if you got the snow where you are.
We're getting a huge storm tomorrow.
Oh,
So,
sorry. I think we're sending it
good.
to you.
Yeah, it's going to be a messy one.
At least it's on a Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be like Sunday night mostly. So we'll see what happens.
That's the worst. Right into the Monday morning commute for everyone.
Well, in theory, yeah.
If anyone is going anywhere.
It still hasn't. It's still like taking forever for me to mute it. Apologies.
Okay.
I'm just afraid of it starting the introductions and then having that echo and then be like, wait, who's talking? Me or future me?
Or past me.
Yeah.
If I mute a lot, it's because my kids are still awake and they keep coming downstairs. So.
All right.
They can always make a guest appearance if they want to.
No. They're always asleep by like 8, but not tonight, of course.
Of course.
All right. Well, wrong one. Okay, I'll just get started because YouTube is being difficult, but then I'll just mute myself when it starts loading. Anyway, welcome to our hockey romance virtual event with Kelly Farmer and Rachel Reed. I'm just going to introduce the authors and then I will disappear for the night so you can hear all their conversation and not have to stare at my face and the Three Stooges back there. Kelly Farmer, pronouns she, her, has been writing romance novels since junior high. In those days, they featured high school quarterbacks named Brad, who drove Corvettes, and gals with names like Desiree, because her own name was rather plain. Her stories since then have ranged from historical and contemporary male-female romances to light women's fiction to LGBTQ+ romance. One theme remains the same. Everyone deserves to have a happy ending. Kelly was a 2015 Romance Writers of America Golden Heart finalist in the Contemporary Romance category. She is past president of the Chicago North Romance Writers and is also a member of Women's Fiction Writers Association. When not writing, she enjoys being outside in nature, quoting from 80s movies, listening to all kinds of music, and petting every dog she comes in contact with. All of these show up in her books. She also watches a lot of documentaries to satisfy her hunger for random bits of trivia. Kelly lives in the Chicago suburbs where she swears every winter is her last one there. And it's snowing, so that's kind of perfect. And then Rachel Reed is the author of the Game Changers Hockey Romance series from Carina Press. Rachel lives in Nova Scotia, Canada. She has always lived there, and it's looking like she probably always will. She has 2 boarding degrees and 2 interesting kids. Her next book, Book 5 in the Game Changers series, is Role Model. It is scheduled for release in August. Have a great night. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Marissa, are you going to hop back on at the end to talk about any other Love Sweet Arrow events?
I can. Yeah.
Okay, please do.
Yeah. Just let me know when and I will pop back on.
Okay. Yeah, definitely stay tuned for that. They have some really cool virtual events coming up, so I want her to plug those for Love Sweet Arrow. They're terrific. For those of you who don't know, Love Sweet Arrow is the second romance-only bookstore in the United States. The other one is, I almost said Fated Mates, the Ripped Bodice out in California. So we're extremely fortunate to have them in Chicagoland. And if you can't make it there, and honestly, if you can't make it anywhere nowadays, just find them online. They have really cool giveaways, signed copies of author books. So definitely support Love Sweet Arrow. So yeah, we just tonight we thought we'd have a fun little hockey chat since Rachel and I both write about the coolest game, as people call it. And we're going to keep this kind of fun and casual. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. Pretty much, I think both of us will pretty much talk about, whatever writing, give writing questions, hockey questions, whatever. And then we're also going to play a super fun game called is this a real hockey team name or a fake hockey team name? So that'll, because some of the real ones are real, wow.
Yeah.
So, Rachel, if you want to get started, if you want to just talk a little bit about your Game Changer series.
Sure, yeah. So yeah, I just finished book 5. It's gone to copy editing. So it's the whole series is male romance. It kind of each book is a standalone, but it's sort of like a domino effect from it's about a player coming out publicly as gay in the first book, and then kind of the like the domino effect that has throughout the league of like different players, how it helps them, how it like they don't all like come out publicly in the same way, but maybe in a much quieter way. His actions improve their lives, and so that's why it's called Game Changers, the series. So so there's going to be at least 6 books in it, but I haven't started book 6 too much yet.
But you just finished 5, so you have to take that.
Yeah,
like,
I'm gonna give myself like a week.
yeah, I kind of did the same thing. I actually just have one book out right now. My debut novel was Out on the Ice. If you can see that, it was with Karina Press, and it came out in August. It's a female hockey romance between someone who is retired from competition and then someone who currently plays in the National Women's Hockey League. And then I actually just turned in the first draft of the next book in the series, and the title of that one is Unexpected Goals. And it is
Nice.
an enemy. Yeah, it's an enemies to lovers between
My
a U.S. and Canadian rivals.
Nice.
So, yeah, because I love Canada, I love Canadians, but that 2-week window every 4 years.
Oh yeah, no.
Like it's all bets are off. Like
yeah,
sorry,
suddenly
Canada.
I hate Sweden, I hate Finland, I hate Russia, like every country.
Like I've never hated Finland, but every 4 years or
Belarus,
so.
get out of here.
Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. And then I actually, much like you, I just turned in the second one, and now I'm already like working on the early stuff for the third one. And that one right now is 2 rival coaches. So they coach different women's teams.
Yeah.
So
I like the idea of coaches, just to like mix it up.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's sort of a natural progression. You've got the players, but the coaches are just as important. And they have a lot at stake too when when their teams are playing each other. And one thing in terms of like from the writer perspective, if you can make their goals be in conflict with each other, then that makes the story much more exciting. And like in the Unexpected Goals, they're teammates. And so while they had a rivalry for years, they have to learn how to work together in order to win. And if the rival coaches, they literally like their entire desire to win like is at odds, like one must lose. So
yeah, exactly. That's awesome.
One of us must lose. Oh no.
I keep thinking a referee book would be fun.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to make it fun.
I mean,
because it's such if it was like a ref and a player, that is a huge conflict of interest. But maybe if it was like something else, 2 like refs, they travel
second
together.
Chance romance between refs
rival refs.
Rival refs. She got to be the head ref. No fair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, what attracted you to writing hockey romance, and in particular, male hockey romance?
I think like, I mean, a big part of it was just the story idea I had, but I mean, I love hockey and have my whole life, so it was kind of like a write what you know thing. I didn't have to do probably writing about something else. But I think like the male is mostly like it was mostly interesting to me as it relates to hockey, because while I've always loved hockey, it's like the culture around hockey I have not always loved. So there's been like long stretches of my life that I did not follow hockey or pay attention to it because I was too mad at it. So I think like these books are kind of my way of like, I don't know, fictionally fixing things so I can love hockey again, which is sort of silly, but
No, I love that. It's such a nice thing that creative people can do, is fix what we don't like in the real world.
yeah.
Or like, I know a lot of people have like watched a movie or read a book or watched a TV show, and something happened and they didn't like it, and it incensed them so much that they're like, I want to write the story that should have happened.
Yeah, exactly. It's like where so much fanfic comes from. Like, it's like, I'm going to fix this.
Yeah.
So it was kind of
Yeah.
like my NHL fanfic with original characters. I don't know.
I love that. Yeah, for me, what's sort of funny in a way is it's almost opposite in women's hockey, whereas men's hockey is very much like a macho, let's be
Yeah.
dudes, and women's hockey. I mean, there's a lot of queer women, and
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
they marry each other even when they're
Yeah.
U.S. and Canadian, and
Yeah.
so it's just it's interesting in a way that obviously still so many I don't want to say barriers, but it's still not the easiest thing in the world, but it's so much more accepted. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah. And I'm hoping that, like, men's pro hockey gets there just because it's such a huge stage and so many kids look up to them.
for sure.
It would be nice if they could. I mean, they're making an effort, but we'll see. They got a long way to go.
Yeah, for sure. We were have you found it weird, because you've been writing through the pandemic, and has it been weird or challenging to write certain things, like
Yeah.
scenes or
Like parties, yeah.
parties,
Like going to a bar.
Yeah.
Anything with like many people in a scene. I'm like, I don't remember. I had to put on like ambient background, like crowded bar noises when I wrote a scene where they went to a bar, because I could not remember what it was like what it sounded like or what the vibe was. It's been
Yeah.
over a year, so
Yeah, in Unexpected Bowls, I wrote like a let's go out to eat after practice, and it was just like weird, and it's so
Yeah.
strange that like that was weird. Like, why are you all going out to eat together?
it's so dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, touching, kissing, crowds at hockey games. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
not like piped in crowd noise.
Yeah, it kind of helped like that the NHL had their playoffs oddly in the summer, because I was doing most of the writing then, and I'd never, had hockey in the summer while I was writing before, so that was actually quite useful.
Yeah, that was strange, because Out on the Ice came out on August 24th. And when, I sold that book in like February, there was no part of me thought that that would somehow be timely, that there's actually hockey being played in August.
Yeah, mine came out like in September, like right after it was over, and I was like, it's wild that it's people
it would
have
have been
hockey
the
on the
start
brain.
of the season.
Yeah, that's what they scheduled it for originally.
But
instead it was like no hockey, but people were talking about it.
Yeah, it's just it's an interesting, but I think it's also just a really nice escape too. We can sort of let's, either as readers or writers, like let's go to that kindler, gentler time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of just ignoring it, even though my books technically take place like right now, because they actually have, years, like some of them have years mentioned in them. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, it's definitely happening like this year, but I'm just pretending everything's normal and fine.
It's
It's just
interesting.
easier. I don't know how much
Yeah.
longer contemporary authors will get away with that. I feel like it's going to become a thing where you're going to have to mention it because it's like too big a thing to have lived through.
Yeah. Well, what's really interesting is like a lot of the like Facebook groups I'm in or on Twitter, writers are asking like, are you writing it into your stories? And, people have differing opinions on it, but like, I always come back to, if you're in the middle of a series, you can't,
No.
like,
Also, we don't know how this ends yet.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
not
how,
over.
That's how I'm looking at it. It's like, you can't write about it like, well, remember when that happened? Because like, I mean,
maybe it goes on for another decade. We don't know.
Like, we don't know how this is going to end. So it's kind of one of those things, like, I think sort of the overwhelming majority for writers is like, we are just gonna like just wait and see on this one. And so it's funny, like, because I like for Unexpected Goals starts about 2 months after Out on the Ice, so I have to go with that, my fictional world's clock, because it can't be like, and then nothing happened for quite some time, or
I tried as an experiment just to write like a free short story with 2 of my characters as if they were in this pandemic, just to see what it was like, and I could not do it. Like, I wrote like 1 page and I was like, this is so depressing, I hate this. I was like, I'm not gonna write this.
I think the overwhelming majority of the discussions that I've seen, people are like, I do this to escape. I need the escape. Like we really are, we have some trying things going on right now. We can just, have the season continue.
Like, I don't bring like real world politics into my book. Like, I don't mention like political leader names or anything like that. Like, it's just kind of, it's an escape.
So exactly. Let's just have a good time. And I just want to mention, anyone who's watching, if you have any questions or comments or anything, feel free to type them in the chat. Happy to. I also kind of curious where people are coming from, because Rachel is in Canada and I'm in Chicago Landia in America. So I'm just kind of curious where people are coming from too. That's always fun. Do we want to do a couple of our, are these fake or are these reals? Want to start?
Yeah, sure.
Throw out a couple of those.
See if we can get people chatting. Is that how that's how it works, right? They enter it in the chat.
Yeah. Okay. So what we'll do is we're going to take turns and we'll say a team name, and then in the chat, if you want to type if it's true or false. I guess true or false. That's all you have to type.
Don't Google it.
No, don't Google. And please, if you legit know the answer, like, that's the team in my hometown, just say true and not that's the team in my hometown, because then everyone's going to know.
I play for them, for example.
Yeah. I own that team. Rachel, you want to start us with one of yours?
Okay. All right. Are the Cleveland Monsters a real team? It's a pretty silly name. Is it real?
Can you see anything in the chat?
No. I mean, maybe mine's not working.
Yeah, I don't see anything in the chat, but I don't know if that's because we're streaming this. So it's the YouTube. It's on the YouTube chat.
Whoops.
Well, that's okay.
We'll close this chat, maybe.
we're like,
okay, hold on. Now? Okay, we did not do this correctly at all. So hold on.
Let me close that. Let me hang on. Thanks for bearing with us. We're going to go to the YouTube chat here real quick.
Nobody Google the answer. Just wait.
There we go. Thanks for your patience. Super fun. There's the chat. Hi, everyone. I'm gonna thank you
Oh
so
my God,
much.
we're not alone.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, hi, everyone. So, oh, thanks. So we've got St. Paul, Minnesota, state of hockey,
Nice.
North Carolina, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Western Colorado. Rob's in parachute because they have odd names in Colorado. We have Columbus, Ohio. Stacy. Hi, Stacy, from New York, not far from the Rangers practice facility. Okay, so we do have some true, false, true, false, true, false. So, all right, now I think we are ready to
Well, I bet
reveal
one
the
of those
answer.
people knows the answer for sure because
Yeah,
that is
that's right.
real. And they are the AHL farm team for Columbus. So there it is. Assuming it's Columbus, Ohio. Is that?
I would assume so.
There's a bunch of Columbuses in the States, right?
Yeah. They went overboard with the Columbuses, like Main Streets. There's probably Main Street
Yeah.
in every Columbus. All right. We have a Toronto.
Woo!
That's all. All right. I will go ahead and throw out one of mine here. We have is the Orlando Solar Bears real or fake? Orlando Solar Bears. While we're waiting, Paige has been to a Monsters game. So,
wow.
so she knew that one was real. Monsters
Halifax
are
used to have an
real.
AHL team. I miss those days.
Yeah. Do you have any professional teams?
We have a junior hockey team here, which is great. I got to watch like Sidney Crosby play before he was in the NHL and stuff like that. So,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's nice to watch them before they're huge.
Yeah.
They're just babies.
All right. So we're getting some true, too cute to be real. All right. Okay. So I got a true question mark. All right. So the Orlando Solar Bears, that is a real team.
Sadly
They're in
real.
the East Coast Hockey League, who I will say is home of the best names, honestly. The ECHL, man. Props to whoever names their teams.
Yeah, that's a real one.
You want to throw out
okay,
another
I got
one, Rachel? All right.
Yeah, the Jacksonville Sea Storm. Let's stay in Florida.
Jacksonville Sea Storm.
Pretty good name. Evocative.
Yeah. I think, apologies, I think that we're on a Zoom call, and I think our Zoom call is moving, the YouTube's on a bit of a delay. So,
oh yeah.
So yeah, pardon us if we have some moments where we're sitting here kind of thinking. So far we're getting all falses. So
probably because these people
fake,
know
false. Oh. I'm actually curious about the answer to this one.
These are probably all male hockey romance fans because this is the fictional team from Avon Gale's Scoring Chances series. So shout out.
I would say it's like kind of true and kind of fake.
I didn't make it up.
You're right.
But it is not a real team. That's a little shout out.
Yes, to another one of our hockey romance writer friends plural.
It's a good name though. It's good fake name.
Yeah, like I can picture the jersey for that one, like the Sea Storm. All right.
So
I think let's just stay where it's warm and sunny right now, because it's not warm and sunny where Rachel and I are. The
No.
Florida Everblades. The Florida Everblades.
I see what they did there.
True or false? Florida Everblades. Potential Kraken affiliate, Stacy says.
Mhm.
True, we're getting some trues. Trues, fakes, trues. All right, I think you guys caught on to the facts that Florida likes their weird team names, because that one is true. That is also an East Coast Hockey League team, the Florida Everblades.
Yeah, they love a pun in Florida. Can't get enough.
They're just chilling down their lake, making up fun hockey names. So you go, Florida. All right, you want to throw one more out?
Yeah, I got one. The Worcester Railers. The Railers, not the Whalers.
Whalers. We would need a native Massachusetts person to say Worcester correctly for us.
Yeah, I knew I wasn't going to say it like super correctly. I was just going to do my best. But you got to drop that R.
Worcester. I have to say, my books, the fictional team that Amy, the purple-haired gal, plays for is the Boston Ice. And I'm
Yes.
obsessed with the Boston accent, like obsessed with it. So I had to have one of the characters be a native, just so I could get that
Nice.
accent in there. All right, so pretty much falses, and someone says, I want that to be true just for the gay porn opportunities.
Yeah. No, it's also an evocative name. No, that is real. That is also an ECHL team in Massachusetts. And it's named, of course, after the train system there. They have a railway station, I assume. Their logo's a train. So there's nothing dirty about it.
It's it's a train, people. Get your minds out of the gutter.
It's just a bunch of train-loving hockey players.
All right. I think we'll go with one more for now from this little chunk of the game. Is this real or not? The Brooklyn Scouts. The Brooklyn Scouts. Anyone? Bueller. Brooklyn Scouts. I kind of want to like picture, for the ones that are not real, kind of want to see what would the logo be? Because, I mean, the Florida Everblades has a logo, so.
Yeah. My fake team names are just really super lazy variations on the real ones. Like I don't even really try. So you can just imagine their logo being the same logo that the real team would have.
I like your team names though, because it's sort of like the nod and a wink. Like, I mean, it's not the Rangers, but it's the Rangers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like
so
their jersey colors are the same.
Yeah. I like that. And so everyone said that was fake. That is fake. Brooklyn Scouts.
I actually used that one that's my New York Islanders. That was in Game Changers, briefly mentioned, because I needed to come up with a second New York team that couldn't be the Islanders. So you guys all
knew that, and actually Paige said it was. Paige said true, or maybe in a book because it sounds familiar. So she probably read Game Changer.
I think it was only mentioned in that one book because, like, I wrote the book with the real team names, and then I changed them, and then that was the one I was like, oh shoot, but the New York Islanders, what am I going to call them? And so they're playing in Brooklyn mostly, so I was like, Brooklyn something, Scouts.
Sure.
I think I spent like 2 hours trying to name that team. Like, it was such a waste of time, but should have just called them the Islanders.
Or the
Brooklyns.
The Brooklynites.
Brooklyn hockey guys.
Yeah. Ashton said, that's how I knew it was fake. Kip's dad's favorite team.
That's right. That's why I needed a name. It was like important to the story. Yeah.
All right. So we could take a quick break. Anybody, now that we are firmly in the chat, does anybody have any questions? Again, can be about Rachel's series, writing in general, whatever you'd like. We're happy to see those questions pop up. Oh, the Brooklyn Bridges.
That would be good.
Oh,
I'll bet I thought of that. I bet I have like a brainstorm list somewhere that has.
Yeah, you know, in all honesty, if Mix Ewer, if you are a writer, please put that somewhere in a book.
Yeah.
Or
you know what the problem is too, like because so many people use fake team names in different sports romances, and Brooklyn's a popular city to set your fake team. Like a lot of Brooklyn names were used already, like fake Brooklyn names.
Yeah.
Like I remember looking at like Bombers, Bruisers, I don't know. They were like,
that's the worst is when you come up with one and then you Google and it's like right there. And then like you're
like, this football team's called that.
Yeah. I got so lucky with for my like fake teams, the New York Lady Liberties.
Yes.
Why has nobody taken that?
That's a really good name.
It's such a good name. And so like I like it so much that one of the coaches in the third book in the series is going to coach for them just because I'm like, I like them so much. Even though they're the arch rival of the Boston Ice. So we have a couple of questions. Yeah. Leo asked, what's the most fulfilling part of writing for you?
You want to answer that first? I'll think.
Sure. You know, I come from an acting background, and I've just always been writing, and I love to bring joy to people's lives, and so it's just so cool. Now that I'm finally published, because it took a long time, that like I get to bring joy to people's lives, and like we were saying earlier, letting people escape for a few hours and have a good time and sort of be like, yay, life's a little better. So like to be a part of that is so amazing.
Yeah, I think it definitely is. I just need to have a creative outlet of some kind. And, you know, this has been a good one, even though it gets, I don't know if I want to say more challenging, but it gets like, it starts to feel more like a job as you get into like more and more books, but I still really enjoy it. And I mean, for me, like there's nothing quite like somebody telling you that a character that you invented means something to them or made them feel something. So I think for me, that's definitely the most fulfilling part, is just hearing that people like my characters.
Yay. Paige asks, how do you decide how much to base your books on the real league's team's players? That's interesting. I think about that a lot. Women's hockey, you know, it has some problems. There's dissent amongst the athletes, you know, as to what they want a league to look like. I actually waffled quite a bit about using the NWHL or making up a league when I was writing Out on the Ice. And I ultimately decided to go with the league that existed at that time because I wanted to show that it was possible. And, you know, a lot of people don't even realize there is professional women's hockey in North America.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say, you know, I want to support what's currently there, even though maybe it's not the best. The product's fantastic. The hockey's amazing. Super unfortunate that they had to suspend their season this week, but the hockey was so good. And you know, I definitely don't want to take anything away from the PWHPA, which is the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association. They're trying to get stuff going too. So that's a long way of saying that I decided to go with what currently existed and show how hard it is for female athletes. They have day jobs. They have to, you know, they work for, they don't make a livable wage on their meager salaries at all. So I wanted to show what currently exists. But I stuck with the current format that there's 6 teams in the NWHL. So I use the same cities. So my teams play in Boston, Buffalo, Toronto, St. Paul. Like I kept the cities the same, but the teams are different. And I don't use any real people like at all. Just that makes life easier.
Do you mention any like real, like any real players, like say that maybe they grew up idolizing or anything like that? Like even like NHL players or anything, or do you just like not mention any?
I don't think I do. And I think I sort of used because one of the heroines in Out on the Ice is retired and has been for some time. She sort of is one of those people.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So she doesn't like mention her peer like or anything.
Personal choice for me is just keeping real people out.
Yeah, that's what I did too. Like in my world, like Wayne Gretzky does not exist. Like nobody mentions him. I never mention like a retired superstar NHL player or real coach or anything. Like these guys grew up idolizing players that don't exist. So but yeah, I use, obviously the teams are sort of real, but like because I wanted the league and the teams to sometimes maybe be bad guys a little bit. I didn't want to use the real teams. So I use the real league name, but I change other stuff. I have not based any players directly on real players, but I'd say the closest I came was Heated Rivalries, very much inspired by Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin's rivalry, but not really based on them as people. Like I just liked the idea of, like, I've been following that rivalry since before they started. So I just thought like that's a great idea for a romance. But I tried to not make the characters like those guys. But yeah, I'd say that's the closest I came. Everyone else is pretty much an amalgam of real players, or I might have gotten an idea somewhere, but
yeah, for sure. I think we see Mixure, who I've just decided that your name is French Canadian. Thank you for getting through 2020. Well, thank you for getting us through 2022. Because we're writers, but we're also readers too. So we appreciate all the other writers getting us through. And how do you find time to write when juggling day jobs, families, etc.? i.e., when do you write? Do you have a ritual around it? I did something. I'll just out myself here. I did something super brave last fall. I quit my day job.
Wow.
I had saved up some money from said day job, and it was very stressful. I worked at a veterinary hospital that was still open and operating, and it was just really exhausting. So I took the plunge and was like, you know what, I'm just gonna write and try to load up on, kind of get a bunch of stuff in the queue, because publishing is a very slow industry. So let me just kind of get it all together, and I can always go find another job, but I so I but it's difficult. I mean, I've pretty much worked day jobs always while writing, and I have terrible time management, so I would strongly encourage writers out there, utilize some time management skills, and also treat it like you're serious. That was a big deal for me a number of years ago, where it's like I was writing, but like I was writing, and when I finally decided like this is what I want to do and I want to be published, I started treating it like a second job. And it was like, I'm going to write from these hours, and I'm really going to focus on finishing this. And it's really personal. I think if you're an early morning person, if you can get up an hour early, that's the best time, because like the world is quiet. Like no one's emailing you. Like you're probably up before the other members of your family. So if you can get it that hour early, or if you're a late night person, if you can, stay up an hour later when the house is quiet. I have friends who write when their kids are at swim practice. And, one of my friends, back when life was normal, she knew her kids had, swim or dance, and that hour and a half or whatever, that was when she wrote. So yeah, I would say find pockets of time. I know a lot of people swear by writing rituals. So we make a playlist of music that, like fits your characters, fits your book, whatever. So when you hear that, it's like, okay, go time. Light a candle. I use essential oil because I'm a super hippie. So I'll get my essential
I
oil.
love that stuff.
Be like,
I love incense. I love candles.
Yeah. So find what works for you, but I'd also recommend if something's not working, change it. Like no one is going to yell at you if you find you just cannot get up that hour earlier. And change it. Stay an hour,
I think
stay up an hour later.
I do just kind of grab time whenever I don't have any kind of schedule or goals. I don't really do word count like goals or anything like that, but that's just because it's just time is really limited for me, because I run a small company as my full-time job, and then I have a couple kids and other stuff going on, so it's like the writing, while it's important, is like whenever I can. So I'm kind of slow. So I mean, I think I'm slower than a lot of writers. It takes me a good 6 to 8 months to write a book, like to finish a first draft. I mean, so but it's mostly because I'm writing like in 10-minute chunks here and there. I wrote most of Game Changer on my iPad while sitting on my kids' beds while they fell asleep, like when they were really young. And I don't know, it's just kind of still the best I can do. So I'm definitely not, I would not use me as an example, but
actually I would use you as a perfect example, because I think
example
I'm
if
an
you're very
anomaly.
busy.
Like I'm an anomaly, honestly, in that I'm single. I have 0 attachments. So like literally my problem is too much free time. And I think that people with kids, families, obligations, finding those pockets of time is the way you get it done.
Yeah, and I
sure.
thought like last year when things started to fall apart, I was like, well, this should give me more time to finish this book. But no, because I had to like homeschool and with kids around all the time and we're all trapped in a house together, it's like I kind of need to be alone to write. It's really hard to write with other people in the room, and there's always other people in the room here. And I can't go to a coffee shop, so it's like,
yes, that was for me, like
writing.
I can't leave the home to get that change of atmosphere.
Yeah, and I can't go like observe people, which I think is such an important part of writing, especially contemporary, any kind of contemporary story is like going out and like I used to like to if I was gonna write a scene where they're going to see like live music at a bar, I would go do that just to like soak it
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, no, I mean, I was planning on going to Ottawa to kind of do some research for this new book that I just finished because it's set in Ottawa and I haven't been there in a few years. But I had to just go with my memory and Google searches and talking to Jen Burke, who's from Ottawa, who lives in Ottawa now.
Yeah.
So I was asking her questions. So thank you, Jen.
Yeah. Yes, I will have to thank Canadian Twitter quite a bit because every time I got stuck on something, I know Rachel, you answered something once. I was like,
I hope I
I'm
answered it right. I don't
American.
know. I just went with what I would know.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm American. Please help me, Canadian Twitter. Like, do you say this? What would you say? How do you measure this? So yeah,
We
thank
got our own
goodness
language in Nova Scotia, so I don't even, maybe it's not the same as Ontario.
Yeah, for sure. We have some more awesome questions. Thanks, guys. Leo said, do you ever read any fan fiction? And if so, have you ever read any that you felt was good enough to be a book?
Yeah, definitely. I read a lot and yeah, I mean, there's amazing authors writing fanfic and I'm sure a lot of them are writing books. Like I know a lot of authors, like published authors who also write fanfic. I haven't written any myself in a long time, but I did, Game Changer. There was a fanfic version of Game Changer that I'd kind of put out there when I was still kind of working out the story. And then took it down when I decided to finish it and make it the novel it is now, I guess. But
Cool.
I think it's like a decent way to work stuff out if like you're having and you get feedback.
Yeah.
But it also means your story's kind of out there for everyone to see. Like I probably wouldn't do it again, but it worked. I think I wrote it faster than I would have, and it also made me finish it in a way, like because people were waiting for the next chapter or whatever. So
yeah,
it's not a bad way to do it if you're really stuck. Like AU fanfic can be very, very AU. So you can get pretty liberal with the characters and just write the story you want to write. But I know that there's a few really good novels that did start as fanfic.
Yeah, and some really well-known romance writers too. Like Christina Loren, like they were big in fanfic. I don't read any. It's honestly more of a time issue than interest issue because there's a lot. I have a lot of friends who are active in their specific fanfic that they like, and it sounds so awesome and the stories sound really good, but it's just it's a time thing. I just don't have time for it, but
I haven't been reading much lately, to be honest, but
but there is
I haven't been reading much of anything.
Yeah, there's good enough. There's good enough authors there that, and I think if you're in the fanfic world, if you think something is really good, encourage that author. Be like, hey, this should be a fully fleshed book. You can take out the details that are the fanfic stuff. Don't make them name their names Bella and Edward, but
yeah. What I learned is that that part is harder than it sounds, like, because I think a lot of people will say like, well, this is clearly whatever fanfic, and then they just like change the names. It's so much more than changing the names.
Yeah,
it's like true. It was a lot of work. So that was another reason why I maybe don't recommend that route, because what you end up with is kind of a mess that requires a lot of fixing.
Yeah, but I'd say to like wet your whistle or sort of just get your writing chops down. It's easy. I would say it's easier to go with an existing structure and just have fun. You're not worried. It's fun. That's what fanfic is. And it's not like you have to sit down and go, what is my character's goal, motivation, and conflict? Like you're just writing, I want to see these people be happy. Or I want to torture the bejesus out of them.
Yeah, and the advantage of fanfic is you don't have to like get into like character descriptions or introducing characters. It's really just story. So
yeah, so stick with it, Leo. if you're in the world. Rod said, do either of you have plans to write non-hockey romances? And then Paige sort of went off that and said, do either of us have plans to write different gender pairings? So like not male for you, not female for me.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, yeah. I have. It took me a long time to get published. Actually, Out on the Ice was not my first manuscript. It was my like 11th maybe,
Wow.
and it was the first queer pairing that I wrote. So I have a lot of like male female pairings. I mean, I'm one of those people who's like never say never, because you know, maybe a male will pop into my head. So yeah, I actually have a time travel series that I'm in love with, and that has like a male female romance. The primary romance is male female. So yeah, I mean, for sure.
Yeah, I've got other. I've kind of got ideas in a bunch of different categories. Like I've got, contemporary that's not hockey. I've got like kind of paranormal fantasy ideas. I've got like historical romance ideas. It's just, and yeah, male female as well. But I do love writing hockey, and it's probably something I'll always go back to. But yeah, it would be nice to write about something other than like rich, fit men for a while. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Them.
Actually, it's funny. I have an idea for a queer retelling of It's a Wonderful Life, and I was like, maybe I should just work on that to like get out of hockey for a while, like, and write something fluffy and happy and holiday-ish.
Yeah, I have some plans to write some stuff that's like set in Nova Scotia, because I don't know, I've always lived here and I think it's a good setting. I mean,
yeah,
I feel like
I would think it gets overlooked kind of, because people are writing about Toronto and Vancouver.
Yeah, it's very scenic and kind of charming in that small town kind of, sort of like a Cornwall type of vibe. Like those small English towns are so popular. I feel like Nova Scotia could be the next something.
The next big thing.
But yeah, I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it.
I was just looking, there's another question. Ariel asks, any plans to write novels where teammates fall in love? Well, it's funny you should ask that, because Unexpected Goals, they are teammates.
Oh, right.
Yeah, nice. They started out as rivals because they have the international U.S. Canadian rivalry, but they both joined the Boston. Well, one is already with the Boston Ice, one joins the team because they have the best chance to win the Isabel Cup. So that's where, but that the rivalry was already in place, but they are teammates. So super exciting.
Yeah, that would make it a lot easier. I don't know why I have not done that, because the biggest problem with my books is that the characters get separated for such long stretches of time over and over and over again. Like you can barely have them together for a week before they're going to be separated again. So if they were teammates, they'd be together all the time. This book, the new one that I just finished, Role Model, is the closest thing I've done, because it's the team's social media manager and a player. So they are working together, at least. So they do see each other quite a bit.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
How much? But
yeah, for anyone who's writing sports romances of any kind, that is a factor you have to bring in, is there's travel.
A lot of travel.
A lot of travel. And it's funny because like for my third book, they're rival coaches. And I was on a Zoom brainstorm with the Panera Supper Club. And that's my little critique group. And I was like, how am I going to get them together? Like we had to make up ways for them to be together, because they play each other, but then it's like, okay, bye, I have to take the bus home. So
and then there's also like practices, like if one of them's not a hockey player, especially, it's like the hockey player's got lots of stuff to do. Like he doesn't have a ton of time.
And their schedule changes. So like, it's like, well, I'm in town, then I'm out of town, and I'm here, but I'm at practice. So yeah, definitely, put that one in in your head, maybe write someone who's not a pro if you love a sport, and that's like,
Or somebody who gets hurt, but not like badly hurt, but hurt just enough. They get some time off. Yeah.
Yeah. Give them the old, broken
like
leg.
A broken wrist.
Yeah.
Something that'll heal.
Yeah. We don't know concussions, please.
No concussions.
This is Michelle, is Monsieur, it's Michelle. She said, Rachel, thank you for writing Church Street into the series. It made me so happy.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was, I actually did go to Toronto quite a bit when I was writing. That's from Tough Guy, the third book. But yeah, I mean, I love Toronto's gay village. It's just awesome. So
I want to go to Canada so bad, but please keep your border closed to us. Keep us out. I will.
I mean, Nova Scotia, we're close to each other. Like,
yeah,
we don't even go to inter-province that much.
I mean, I will just look forward to the day when we can all be together again. But yeah, I've only been to Canada once, but.
Oh, really? What part?
I did this train trip from Vancouver to Banff.
Oh,
so flew into Vancouver. That. Yeah. Oh, flew into Vancouver, went to Banff.
I did that drive, but not the train trip.
Oh, what's funny, now that I've done the train trip, I want to drive it so I can
I did it in one shot, which I wouldn't recommend, but but it's beautiful.
Mountains.
A lot of mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, we need to hurry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so beautiful there though. Highly recommend that half of Canada.
That just seems like a totally different planet to me, that half of Canada. It's like, that can't be the same country, but
yeah, it's beautiful. Actually, Michelle, you all are in our heads, because Michelle said, any thoughts of writing HEAs with kiddos?
Oh yeah.
The third book in the series, the coach's book, I have a single mom. And funny enough, it is the first single mom I've ever written. So yes would be the answer. I will be doing it.
I haven't done it yet because this is my escape and I have kids. But I did think I almost gave for Common Goal, which was the last book that came out. That was a goalie who's retiring. And he was also recently divorced, and I almost gave him maybe a teenager, just because I hadn't had a kid in any of my books yet, but it was just kind of clutter. The kid got cut.
Yeah, sometimes it's one more thing that you're like, no.
Yeah, no. I can't juggle all this.
Yeah. Paige says, Rachel, you touched on this with your Cornwall vibe, but what is your favorite thing about your respective hometowns?
I mean, I literally live across the street from my parents, so from the house I grew up in. I'm I'm actually in my hometown, which is a suburb of Halifax. I really like it here. I mean, I'm not the most well-traveled, but I've seen a lot of Canada, and I just think there's ocean all around us here. I think the nicest thing about Halifax is 20 minutes in any direction you're at a beach, or the coast, or some beautiful cliff over the ocean. So that's definitely, for me, the draw.
That's so pretty.
Also no COVID. That's nice. I don't know.
Seriously. And then I live in Chicago, so I've just been staying home.
I've always wanted to go to Chicago.
It's a great city. Go in the summer though. It's a great city in the summer. Michelle said, not everyone wants kids, obviously, but it's also important for folks to see queer folks expanding families. Yes,
it's true.
Absolutely.
Well, I am planning on doing something with that, but I don't want to give too much away. So that's all I'm going to say. For people that actually care, I don't want to give too much away.
There's that 6th book that hasn't been written yet.
Yeah. Anything could happen. I haven't started.
Ooh, yay. I think what we would do, we have a few more of those as a fake team name or a real team name if we want to do
Oh,
those.
yeah,
And then
sure.
while we're doing that, if anybody has like some last minute questions, we'll get to those. And then we will let people go watch Hockey Night in Canada or Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
Paige is very excited, by the way. You see, she's just exclamation pointing. So,
Oh, good, good.
all right. Are you next? I think you're next in our
Oh.
list O names.
Okay, how about this one? The Halifax Mooseheads. Pretty silly name.
Gee, are there moose in Halifax? I just
I haven't seen one in the city.
like just walking down the street.
Like at a bar.
Well, like in Banff, like it is. That's one of those places where you're just
Oh
like,
yeah, there are moose there.
oh,
yeah.
there's a moose.
Yeah.
So
When I
yeah.
drove from Thunder Bay to, I don't know, Sault Ste. Marie, I think, like I got bored of the moose. Like I was like, there's too many moose. Like,
I mean, all
like,
right,
just they
enough with the
line
moose.
they line the highway. Like I was just like, all right, enough.
It's so funny. All right, looks like most people think that one's a true name. So
That is our team name here. That is our QMJHL CHL junior hockey team where Nathan McKinnon used to play, if you're an NHL fan. And it is the most ridiculous name, but like go Mooseheads.
yeah, because again.
So it's a beer. Obviously, there's a beer called Moosehead, and they originally owned the team. They have not owned them for years, but still Mooseheads. I thought they dropped the head maybe and just called them like Moosehead or just Moose. I mean, but they didn't. And their logo is still the Moosehead beer logo. Like, so they're getting like free advertising.
Wow. That was brilliant on their part because they're like, even if we sell this team, it's always going to be the Mooseheads.
No, people wouldn't have it. Yeah.
Stacy asked a question in the chat. What are your favorite hockey teams? I know your NHL team, Rachel.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty vocal about it.
If you follow Rachel on Twitter, you know it is the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, big Habs fan.
Yeah, she's a huge Habs fan. I am a Detroit Red Wings fan, despite living in Chicago. And my favorite NWHL team is the Minnesota Whitecaps. Though I will
like
say
them too. I haven't picked a favorite yet, but I like them.
Yeah, I really like the Caps, but I will say that I was really loving the Toronto Six. With what we saw of them. So
I mean, I feel obligated to vote for them, but Toronto team just feels wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's one of those like we just have to put it aside and recognize this is the Canada team. Plus, they're really good, and they have an all-female coaching staff. So, what's not to love? Awesome. All right, so I have the next fantastic name. True or false? The Lumbee Fighting Saints. The Lumbee Fighting Saints.
I don't even know if Lumbee is a real name.
I would say that this one's not real. It's another one of those that should be. Lumbee Saints. Michelle lived in Guelph from 1991 to 99. The best the Storm had was Bertuzzi.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, you mean Todd Bertuzzi, right? Like the original Bertuzzi.
I would think it was original Bertuzzi because that seems like it was
murderer.
A while ago.
He tried to like kill a guy, basically.
Good times with the Storm.
On the ice.
We're getting a true and a false. I think this one just stumped people. Is Lumbee a real place?
I was trying to get to the bottom of Lumbee.
Okay.
I don't think it matters what you name your team if your name's Lumbee.
This one is true. It is a WHA-JHL team, so it's a junior league team. Lumbee is somewhere in Canada. Lumbee, Canada, but
Yeah.
the Fighting Saints, which seems a little bit like an oxymoron, but like a fighting saint.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They're tough.
Yeah. All right. There was a question popped up in the questions. Rye asked, what are your favorite players and possible character inspirations?
Oh, nice.
I honestly, I'm a weirdo. I'll be honest with you. Like, there's people who like authors who are like, oh, my hero is based on this guy, and they post pictures of them or this gal. And I really try not to look at real people for inspiration. Like, I think sort of what Rachel was saying, that like I absorb the information and sort of like pick out little details here and there that I'm like, oh, that's cool, or oh, okay. But I honestly just really try to stay away from real people. That's just kind of how I am.
Yeah, I think I try not to base anybody too much, but like my favorite player is like, I don't know, I have so many favorites. Like, I mean, I'm a big goalie fan, so I love Carey Price. I mean, he's great. Like, he would be a great character because he also does rodeo stuff, or he used to. He's like a big outdoors guy. He's indigenous. He's like, there's so many things about him. He's cute. He's like, he used to do Wrangler jean ads. Like, there's so many things, and he's very like serious, but has like a very dry wit. Like, yeah, I think that guy would make a great like template. But yeah, I don't know, I like just like following NHL players on social media and kind of getting, I mean, social media has been great for hockey writers, because like hockey romance writers, because it's like, oh, I can see how you live.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
for this.
The like, the personal pictures. And for me, it's just like locker rooms, because like, what NHL locker rooms look like, but I don't know what NWHL locker rooms look like. So I'm always like, could you move over? I need to see your stall. Like,
yeah.
So,
do you guys have a kitchen in there? What's going on?
Yeah, like
I know. I remember the Vancouver Canucks posted there's a YouTube video of them giving a tour of their dressing room, like one of their trainers or something, and I was like, thank you. Like, they showed like every room of the dressing room, like all, like like the place where players could just like hang out and relax. And I was like, this is what I need. Thank you.
Cool. All right. You're next. You're next in the list.
Oh yeah, I think I got one more. Yeah, one more. The Thunder Bay Lightning. Thunder Bay Lightning.
That's another one that if it's not real, it should be, because it's great. And if it's not real, someone should use that. Thunder Bay Lightning.
Somebody should definitely,
yeah, like take that. If it's not real, it's not been taken.
It's not real.
Stacy said that Dubuque has a team called the Fighting Saints as well. So there's not just the Lumbee Fighting Saints.
You know what? The Fighting Saints sounds like a college team.
Yeah, like the Fighting Irish.
Yeah.
The Fighting something.
Yeah.
I think we're hearing that this is true.
No, it's not. It's not true. The Tampa Bay Lightning is true. The Thunder Bay Lightning is not true. Gotcha.
Or yeah, Paige says it should be the Thunder Bay Thunder.
Yes.
Would honestly, like, it's so bad that it's good.
I would. That would be amazing. It's
the
not worse than the Mooseheads.
Thunder. Oh
Yeah.
boy. All right. I have one more. I will do one more. The Dawson Creek Rage. Dawson Creek Rage. Did the TV show Dawson's Creek have a hockey team? Were they called the Rage? You
Is there
decide.
real plays?
Yeah. Ashton said, isn't Thunder Bay like a Disney World ride?
That's Thunder Mountain.
I don't know. I didn't know either, Ashton. So we had to have Rachel bail us out on that one.
Thunder Bay is a large town. I don't know if it's a city or not, but I've been there in Ontario, like getting close to the Manitoba border.
Yeah. Okay, so the Dawson Creek Rage. That's a real team. It's in the NAHL. I honestly like
Where is
such a great
Dawson
name.
Creek?
I don't know what Dawson Creek is, but the fact that it's like the rage, it just sort of seems like teenage rage fueling this team. They probably are
best name.
unstoppable.
Should be called the Angst.
The Angst. Oh my gosh, yes. It might be British Columbia. Someone said there is a Dawson Creek, British Columbia.
You know what? That sounds like a British Columbia
It
town.
totally sounds like. I can picture like the creek running through the evergreens.
Dawson sounds right.
So yeah, and we both said this is one of those team names. It's not a team anymore, but it was the greatest hockey team name probably of all time. The Macon Whoopee.
Yep.
That was a real team. Macon, Georgia.
Yep.
Had the Macon Whoopee. So if anyone has plans to bring a team back,
the Atlanta Flames like farm team?
I don't even remember because it used to be in the CHL. So I would just say
it can't be a farm team. It's too silly a name for the AHL, I think.
So. Yeah, it's like ECHL level silly.
They couldn't get away with that. Yeah.
So yeah, if anyone
apparently the runner-up name, like because they let people vote for it, I think that's how they ended up with that name.
Oh, that's right.
I think the Macon Eggs was also in consideration. I remember reading about the little history of this team name.
That Daisy said that's amazing. It kind of is.
They take hockey seriously in Macon, Georgia.
I mean, Georgia's right above or right around Florida. Sorry, I think I got my geography wrong. But
no, it's on top of it. Yeah,
it's around. It's down there. They have fun with their names down there. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. I appreciate everybody coming. Thank you so much. But I hope that Marissa could hop back on. And just if you can talk a little bit about the other programs coming up with Love Sweet Arrow. I will say, please, you can buy our books there, but even if you don't buy our books, just buy your romance titles from Love Sweet Arrow. They can get them digitally because our books are digital or ebooks. And they can also mail you paperbacks. They have a lot of signed paperback copies, really cool stuff. So yeah, I would say that, oh yeah, you're back.
So upcoming events, we have on Tuesday, Beverly Jenkins herself talking about Wild Rain with Jen Prokop from Fated Mates, also at Jen Read Romance on Twitter. We have two Valentine's Day weekend events. We have the Romance Royalty Virtual Tour with Rayanne Thane, Melinda Curtis, Debbie Maycomer, Sheila Roberts, and Brendan Novak. That is the February 13th at 3 p.m. Central Time, so 4 p.m. Eastern. And then on Valentine's Day itself, we have Love is in the Air, and that is with author Mona Shroff, who is going to be moderating. Zuleika Snyder, Nisha Sharma, Farah Heron, Anika Sharma, and Alicia Rai. And then the Boozy Book Broads, I'll be back with Naima Simone on Friday, February 19th. And then one person who's like a breeder person watching the live stream will win a $10 e-gift card to Love Sweet Arrow.
Cool. Yeah, I actually registered for the Miss Bev event like shortly before we started because I was like, I don't want to forget to do it.
We're super excited. Yay!
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right. So thanks everyone
you.
for joining us. Thank you, Kelly, and
Thanks.
thank you,
Thank
Rachel.
you.
And
Thank you.
stay warm.